Hey everybody, good morning, good morning, good morning on this bright and sunny day in the UK. Well, in Surrey really. Yesterday I was asked an intriguing question about what do I believe in my 20 years worth of experience are the key roles that a project manager has to perform. Now, if you talk to 20 people, you may get 20 different answers. Okay, so here's my starter for 10. I've got 6, and please feel free to add more to that in the comments box. But these are the ones that I have found really, really useful in terms of. So my starter for 10. What are the 6 key roles that the project manager performs in a project? I think the first one relates to project initiation and planning. So whether you're producing a business case, whether you're producing a project charter, whether you're producing a project brief, it's having a well-structured, well-documented project or document of what you intend to do, what you intend to achieve and why. Have you articulated what the risks are, or what your assumptions are, or what the project's objectives are, or what the scope is going to be? What is in the scope, and more importantly, what isn't in the scope. Okay, and estimated costs as well. What are your deliverables? What are your key risks? And what results are you expecting to achieve? So I think kind of project initiation is key, and planning as well. Are you producing the correct plans to the correct level of quality and depth of quality, and have they been agreed? What does your communications plan look like? What does your resource plan look like? What does your project plan look like? What's your decommissioning plan? What does that look like? What's your quality plan look like? What does your risk and issues plan look like? So there are lots of plans that you need to create, to produce, and get signed off. Okay, so that's the first kind of like key role that the project manager, in my view, needs to perform. Secondly, second key role is that of monitoring and controlling the project, and use that with risk management. Have you got a risk register? Have you got an issues register? How are you tracking the resolution of risks and issues? How are you managing scope? Is your scope changing? So how are you actually managing that? So that's kind of like another key one. Also, how are you tracking costs, and how are you tracking the schedule itself? Is your project behind? It's behind in terms of progress. Is your budgets in danger of being overrun? Are you raising change requests to perhaps get more money, or perhaps to descope your project, or can ask for more time? How are you actually kind of tracking progress on your project? Okay, that's the third key. The fourth one, and this to me is in my experience, one of the most important ones, is in terms of stakeholder management and communication. Who are your stakeholders? Who are the people that will be impacted by your project, by your deliverable? Who's got a vested interest in the project, either going well or going badly? I've worked on one project where the key sponsor wanted a project, but some person that I reported into didn't. How, as a project manager, do you actually manage that? What's your kind of conflict management style? Have you listed all your stakeholders, and how are you going to treat each of them? What are you going to report to them? So that's where your communication strategy comes in. What are you reporting to whom? When are you reporting to them in terms of the frequency? and what impact may that information give them, good or bad. Okay, so that's the fourth one. I think the next one is in terms of, yeah, okay, I suppose it's equally important, how you manage and motivate your team. Because as a project manager, you're there to, you're there as a, as an analogy, you're kind of riding a chariot, and then you've got your horses in front of you. How are you kind of managing them? Are you feeding them well? Are you motivating them well? Are you kind of sharing your vision with them? Are there any kind of problems that you need to be aware of? How are you motivating your team? And then finally, I suppose this is in terms of your leadership behaviour. How good are you as a leader? As a project manager, you are a leader. You're setting the vision of what you want the project to do, what the journey looks like. You've got your goals, you've got your objectives. How are you communicating that to your team and to your stakeholders, to your customers? Do you have regular meetings? Are you kind of like an authoritarian in terms of just kind of let's do it, which isn't really kind of isn't really good in the long term. How are you empowering your team? How are you serving your team? How are you kind of dealing with problems? If you've got issues, either within the project or out, can they come to you to discuss that? So your leadership behaviour will set the tone, will set the culture for how your team behaves, how your team treats you, and also with regards to your stakeholders, how you're perceived by them as well. How are you marketing your project? How are you marketing yourself? Okay, so those are the 6 key roles. Hope you found those useful. If you've got kind of any other roles that you feel the project manager performs in, please put that in the message box. But have a marvellous day. Okay, enjoy. Bye-bye.